In today's video, I'm going to be setting up my reading journal for the month of September, as well as sharing with you my TBR for the Magical Readathon's Autumn Equinox. So stay tuned. Hey guys, I'm Tracy and I want to welcome you back to my channel. Today we are back in my reading journal and I'm going to be setting up for the month of September. I'm finally setting it up prior to the month, so you're actually getting 2 videos this month. And I wanted to go ahead and set it up because the Autumn Equinox starts in September. That is part of the Magical Readathon. I actually have an entire journal dedicated to the Magical Readathon. I just haven't really finished it all yet. I kind of want to set it up at my own pace, but you can see I'm doing the Mage Hunter is the Calling. And then for last year's Fall Equinox, I really didn't need 2 pages. But this is what I'm doing this year, so all I have to do is put the book covers in it. But I'm also going to add something to my regular reading journal as well. So yeah, we'll chat a little bit about that as I'm doing my setup. However, first things first, this journal is struggling. It is struggling. It's a little thick, yes, but you can see it's actually coming apart right here. Now, this is a very old journal. You can tell it doesn't have the same binding styles as other journals do. Plus, I don't think this was one that was ever actually sold to the public. They were trying to sell a few of them when they had a few remaining. Really cheap, and then they ended up refunding everybody because of quality controls. So I don't know if that had to do with any functional issues of the book or what, but I'm taking off my stickers because I need to do some triage here. And let me go ahead and do this first. Now, I was able to salvage all of these stickers, but I have duplicates. They're just like die cut stickers. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them or not, but my theme was like pirate theme for the setup, and that's why I did that. So I have some of this duct tape that's white. So I'm going to do this first just to kind of help secure the binding a little bit. Now, I don't think the integrity of the journal is actually impacted, to believe it or not, because it still looks like it's glued pretty fine. It looks like all the pages are still kind of there, but I don't want to chance it, especially being I have like 4 months left. All right, so I purchased this from Amazon. I didn't want anything too crazy because I get an entire roll and this is not going to take very much, and I didn't want it to go to waste, so I wanted something that I could perhaps use again. Although it looks like there's some of this that might be dirty. That's not good. Yeah, it's dirty up until here, so I'm going to have to cut that. Okay. I think we got all the dirty parts off. All right, so I'm gonna like overhang it anyway. Now, the only thing that's gonna give me issue is this. I don't know how to go about that. I might just have to slice it and kind of go around it. But yeah, I think this is very like neutral, and I think it's gonna be really pretty actually. So I want it to be over a little bit. All right, guys, so because I'm speeding it up, you can't really tell how long this took me. It really did not take me very long. The actual wrapping of the book didn't take very long at all. It took a little bit longer to like cut everything and for me to actually lay it flat and try to get the book straight before I actually put the contact paper on the book. Because the design has horizontal lines, I just did not want it to be slanted. So I wanted to make sure the book was put on there straight. And when I say the book was put on there straight, because what I end up doing is putting the contact paper on my desk, sticky side up. I ended up putting like some candles and stuff on the corners to hold it down. And then I put the book open on top of the contact paper so that way I could actually see if the edges appeared to be straight with the straight edge of the contact paper. Now, I did not put it flush against the edge of the contact paper because I do want to leave a little overhang to fold around, and that's just to hopefully prevent it from peeling up. I thought if I cut it flush to the book, then it could potentially peel up, especially after like using it consistently. So I was surprised by how easy this was. So I did do a very small week size planner. I covered that before and that was easy, but I was surprised how easy this was. I didn't get like any like real bubbles. I did get one little wrinkle that was easy to remedy. It completely smoothed out. And I think that was caused by the extra little thickness of the masking tape in that one little area. I think it just caused it to wrinkle a little bit easier. So I do want to chat a little bit about how I ended up working around the strap closure of the book. So all I did was took my scissors and cut from the edge of the contact paper to where the actual strap was attached to the book. And I did that on both ends. And then I actually cut around where the strap is attached to the book, like an itty bitty little square circle type shape. I don't even know. I just kind of cut around it and it worked perfectly. And because I think it's more of like a white contact paper, you can't see where it's like pieced back together where I slid it. Maybe a darker piece of contact paper might show a little bit better, but for this one, it was fine. And now I'm just cutting around the edges. I do wish I left a little bit more contact paper around the edges to have a little bit more wrap because there are some areas that it barely wraps around the cover and goes onto the inside cover. So I wish I would have left a little bit more space. So lesson learned there, but otherwise this turned out pretty good. And I do think it is going to last for at least the rest of this year and hopefully a little bit longer. All right, guys, there we go. Isn't that super cute? So I did cut off my little pen loop just because I don't use it. I don't know if that's going to make this hard to stick on or what, but if it does, then I'll just add like another strip of contact paper to hold it down a little bit more on the inside cover. But I never use these pen loops and that was just going to complicate things anyway. So I just took it off. But this looks really, really cute. I did doctor this up a little bit to make the stripe go all the way up to it. So right now you really can't tell where I cut very much. You can tell just a tad, but because the journal is the same color as the majority of the contact paper, is a white journal with white and gold, you can't really see it as much. If I had a different colored journal, then you could. And unfortunately, I can't tell about the see-through of this. Well, I guess here, where I had brown paper, you still can't see through it. So I don't know if you had like a colored journal and you use this particular contact paper, if you will be able to see it or not. But with the white journal, it was perfectly fine. All right, it is time to roll. So I'm going to start going ahead and setting up for the month of September in my reading journal. So I'm going to do like a fantasy theme just because it's the magical readathon. So I figured fantasy, magic, all that fun stuff. I probably could actually... No, we'll just stick to this because I was like, I actually have a sticker book with like a lot of like magical things and stuff in it, but we'll just stick to this. So what I have in front of me is the syllabus for the autumn equinox. And if you don't know what the magical readathon is, I will have a link to G's video. She's the one that creates it. It is like a whole D&D type concept. You create a character, your character goes on a journey, and then there is a year-long readathon, which is Adventures in Aldea. And that one you have like prompts and stuff to do once a month, but then twice a year there is like you go to school. So that way you can become a profession. You can get like a profession, which is like, you know, your calling. Or my calling is a mage hunter. So that is my calling. And then with that, I already have it. Let me pull this back out. Tracy, don't put it away. So like, here's like the index of callings. It's very small, but with the mage hunter, it tells you on the sheets what you have for the spring equinox and the autumn equinox. And then each year you get a new syllabus, or each actually spring and fall you get a new syllabus, and then you kind of see which classes you need, and it kind of gives you the prompts that you're going to need to do. So for me, I have 6 books that I need to read, so I'm going to put them on there. And what I try to do is I'm also doing, in addition to the Adventures in Audio, the year-long one, I'm also doing the Buzzword Readathon as well as the Goober Readathon. So there's prompts I need to do for those too, and I tried to find books that fit prompts for those as well as for this, so that way I'm not reading more than 6 books, because like I said, this month I read 2. Well, it's not over yet, but I'm hoping to finish 2, maybe even get to a 3rd. We'll see. But with that said, because it's the Magical Readathon, I kind of wanted to do something more kind of fantasy-esque and stuff like that. So I pulled out some of these like sticker papers from Cora Crea Crafts. I think I got this from the subscription box. I mean, not the subscription box, the advent calendar. So I got those here. I have some tapes too. This is some like elf tapes that are really, really cool. I don't know. It's like a whole mixture of things, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to use. And then, of course, I brought this because I feel like if I'm using these colors, it kind of goes with it. Plus, I also have this tape, which is also from Cora Crea Crafts. I feel like that's very fantasy-like. And then I got this from Temu a long time ago, and it's very, you know, obviously fantasy. So figured maybe pull up some of that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and decorate, and we're just going to do the video as a voiceover, because if I don't, we will be here all day. And my battery will probably die on my phone, considering how long it took me to just do the cover of the, of my journal. So yeah, basically all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a title page here with the month on it. This is where I'm going to track what days I read what books. Then we're going to have a TBR page. I think I'm going to do a TBR page here. And then here, I'm going to leave it open for the Magical Readathon. And then this will be my stats page. I have plenty of sheets of paper left throughout the end of the year, so I'm not like trying to force everything onto 1 or 2 pages. Okay, so I do want to say decorating took quite a while, because when I have these full page sticker sheets, what I usually do is kind of the same thing I do with scrapbook paper, as I usually like rip it in half from corner to corner, like at an angle. And then I would put one half on one corner and the other half on the opposite corner, and then be done with it. This time I decided to cut out all of the images and put them separately on the page, which I really liked the final look, but it took a while. It definitely took a while. I do also want to mention that this is like washi sticker paper, which is great because it doesn't bulk up my planner. And as you saw, my spine is already struggling. So anything that does not bulk up the page is great for me. So to kind of complete the spread, because I don't have very many stickers that match this, I ended up using washi that I also got from Cora Crea Crafts. It is the Thor washi. You can see like it has like a little Viking guy on there with some like Scottish looking or Viking looking weaponry. Yeah, I felt like it fit like with the theme, plus the colors matched. I'm like, let's just use it. So I used it. Now I did have to cut around all of the images when I put the washi down, because the images, with it being washi sticker paper, it would show through. So I did have to do that, which was also a little bit tedious. All right, so let's go ahead and just talk about what I'm going to be reading this month. So as I said, there are 3 annual readathons that I'm competing in, that I'm actually trying to get through. That sounds much better. One of them is the Adventures in Audio, which I talked about earlier. It's part of the Magical Readathon. And for this coming month, my prompt is to read a book with a light blue cover. Sounds easy enough, right? It was not very easy for me to find a book that I wanted to read with a light blue cover. So, you know, another book that I do have on my list may fit this, but I went ahead and chose a different book, which is the first book in the Dark Blood Academy. That book, I believe the original cover does not have light blue on it, or is not mainly light blue, but there was a special edition cover that pops up when you pull it up on Amazon that was light blue. So I'm like, we're going to go with that. So that's what I'm going to read, or I hope to read for that one. And then for the buzzword reading challenge, what you do is you have to read a book that has an event in the title. So wedding, prom, vacation, or something of that nature. So again, had a hard time because fantasy is my genre of choice. And, it made it a little bit more difficult. I did find a book that is semi recently released, and it was not listed in any of my book tracking apps. So I had to manually add it, but it's called Ash Trials, ASH Trials, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. It sounds pretty intriguing, and the Ash Trials are an annual event. So there we go. It fits that. And then finally for the Goober Readathon, it was simple enough, a 500 plus page book. A few of mine are going to be 500 plus pages, but I went ahead and penciled in Heavenbreaker for that one. That is also a book that I own physically. However, it's also on Kindle Unlimited, so I may read the Kindle version of it, but I can still count it as physical because it's one less book on my bookshelf that I haven't read. All right, so let's talk about the autumn equinox. So I kind of went through what it is and how it works. So I have 3 classes to take, but within those 3 classes, I have different levels I have to complete. So for my conjurations class, I have 2 levels I need to complete. That is the conjuring circles, and the prompt is circle on the cover. Heavenbreaker has a circle on the cover, so I'm going to use that book for that prompt. And then the Q level has borrowing spells, and I just need to borrow from someone else's TBR. So I've been watching a lot of booktubers that have been talking about some books that they want to read. And the one that kept coming up was A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly. It's also on Kindle Unlimited. I think every book I'm reading is on Kindle Unlimited. So that is there. I think I am definitely going to read that one. And then my next class is for spells and incantations. And for level O, it is Charm of Luck. And then what I had to do was roll a dice, a D6 dice, and whatever number that was would correspond to how many pages a book needed to have. I did this on the computer. I just typed in roll D6 dice, and then I hit like a roll button and a number popped up, and my number was 3. So I need to read a book between 300 and 399 pages. And the one I'm going to read for that is Frost by C.N. Crawford. I've read a couple of their books and I really enjoyed it. So let's go for another one. All right, and then for the Q level, it is current spell trends, and that is to read a book that was released this year. As I said, Ash Trials was released this year, so I'm going to read that one. Mine's low. I'm already reading it for another readathon, so let's double it up here. And then for the final level in spells and incantations, it is incantation capture moments, and I need to read a book with an illustrated cover. And all of my books have illustrated covers, so I'm going to do the Dark Blood Academy to fulfill this one. And my final class is restorations, and I only have to do 1 level in this one, and it's unbroken focus, and the prompt is single POV. I don't know for sure which one has a single POV, but I'm assuming I Kill Killers does. It sounds like it does. And that had been on my TBR before. So we're going to go with that one. So yeah, I'm kind of excited about the books that I have on my TBR. I just hope I can get through it. And I hope I can get out of this reading slump to actually fulfill all of the challenges this month. Fingers crossed. All right, guys. So I'm going to do a quick walkthrough and kind of explain the setup a little bit with you guys. So I did have to add a washi strip here on the page behind it because where this page is in the book, it is kind of bound a little awkwardly, and you could see the page that is before it. And because this is going to be a review page for one of the books that I have read in the month of August, I didn't want you to see writing or anything like that. So I figured let's just put washi there. So that's what I did. So of course we have the title page. This is going to be my reading log. I'm going to list the books here, put a dot marker beside the book, and then the days that I read that book will have a dot on the day. So I do have to date it, but I'll do that whenever. So then of course this is the books that I intend to read as part of my readathons. It may change. I'm a mood reader, so this is to help guide me, especially because there are so many books that I need to read that fit certain prompts. So I do need to create a TBR, but this may change based on feelings or what have you. But I like to have a game plan going in. This is going to be the page that is going to be the summary of the magical readathon. Magical, not magic, but it's going to be the summary. I have no idea how I'm going to set it up. I don't know if I'm going to do book covers or if I'm just going to handwrite the end of the readathon stats. We'll see. We'll see when October gets here. And then this is my stats page. So I go ahead and like pencil in, or obviously in this case, I like used a marker, but I went ahead and put in all of the charts and tables and things like that. But I did not title anything because more the pie chart, if I read all fantasy books, which, you know, it seems like I'm reading mostly fantasy book with the exception of one, then I don't know that I want to do a pie chart for that particular category. I'll just handwrite it here. So I kind of want to save these for when I'm using a variety of things. So like I will definitely do pages. I will have pages in here. I will probably have star ratings in here. The third one is going to vary based on whatever stat has a variety of different levels, so that way it can be a pretty chart. So yeah, and then this will have the other stats that aren't in here, and then this will be stats for a series, standalone, and duology. Don't worry, I will do a flip through of this at the end of the year. I may even fill it in with you guys when I do my October setup, so you will see it at some point. And then this page is going to be just kind of a continuation of my wrap up. Again, I did not title anything, but this is where I might put like favorite book, favorite character, least favorite character. If I finished a series, I might want to note that here. Again, I don't title it because I just kind of want to see what I want to highlight based on the books I read. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I set it up. I like the final product. I hope you do too. With that said, if you guys enjoyed this video, the setup, the chatting about my TBR, and me actually redoing my cover, then hit that like button. If you have yet to subscribe, I hope you would also consider subscribing to my channel. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Until next time, bye.